Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. Today I'm reviewing the new Shadowvault box for Kill Team. Before we get into things, first I'd like to say thanks to Games Workshop for giving this to me to review for free. As always, I aim to be honest, impartial and constructively critical. And if you want, you can like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this video as well as the new box as a whole. And I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But I'll get on with the review. So this is Shadowvaults, the next box for Kill Team Into the Dark Season 2. So this is box 2 of 4. And, well, instead of doing an unboxing, I'll just show you what is inside the box now. So inside the box is a lot of content. So first up inside, you do get, well, it's quite a huge box, but you get the Shadowvault book, as well as the rules, well, the instructions to build everything. Then you get a huge selection of miniatures. So you get the new Kasrkin Kill Team and the new Necron Kill Team, as well as all the previous Into the Dark terrain and upgrade sprue for the new Into the Dark missions, narrative-wise. But we'll get onto that. But yeah, other than that, you do get exactly the same terrain as you got in the Into the Dark box, which is good and bad. Good if you're only buying one box, but, you know, Games Workshop said, you know, they want people to buy 4 boxes, because if you buy all 4 boxes, you can have a big 40k game. And with the 40k reveal stream, they did show that, like, you can play a game of 40k Space Hulk. But I think what I really liked about boxes was having different terrain and having the same terrain all the time. Well, it's great for me because I now don't have to pay any more Into the Dark terrain. I'm now going to have 3 extra sets of Into the Dark terrain that I'm not going to use. So it sucks for people buying every box if they're not going to have that big 40k game at the end of the year, end of the season. But great for people just buying a box sporadically. Then also, you get your classic divider with boards. But outside of that, that's pretty much all that's in the box. So I don't know the price. I kind of hope it's actually a little bit cheaper than Into the Dark, considering you won't get dice, tokens, and like gaming aids. So I don't know the price yet. But if it's the same, I'd be a bit disappointed. But, the Kasrkin look great. Necrons, I like what they've done. The only thing is I don't like the immortal sprue, but I'll get onto that later. But yeah, that's the box. It's huge, big, but you do get a lot of stuff. And now I'll briefly go over the kill teams you get inside. Well, yeah, so you've got the Kasrkin kill team, and then you've got the new Hierotech Circle kill team. So, basically Kasrkin for the Imperial Guard, and then the Necron kill team. Now, I'll briefly cover them, but I'm going to do separate in-depth videos, which you can check out in the episode description or on the channel, either way. But, they're nice. Like, the Kasrkin, they are amazing. They are probably one of the most beautiful kill teams that's been released. They go together really well. They've got so much character. You don't even have to put all the helmets on, but you always put the helmets on. Like, they're such a cool team, like, visually. And the Necrons, I really do like the Necron aesthetic. The new Necron aesthetic is great. My only problem with the Immortal, Deathmark sprue is there's a bit of thematic issue because Cryptex normally don't lead Immortals, but they explain it in the narrative. But the Immortal sprue is horrible to put together. Like, I love the miniatures, but they're a nightmare. The cables don't align properly for the guns. Like, they're so awkward. I was expecting, either the new Necron Warriors, which go together really well, or the Triarch Praetorians Light Guard. They would have been great as well because they're a really nice kit. But I like the Necron models. They look great. It's just building Necron Immortals makes me go mad. I don't know. The way the new Warriors go, all the new Necron stuff goes together really well, but the stuff from the last edition drives me mad. It's weird. But I like both kill teams visually. Rules-wise, they're very balanced kill teams, which is what I like. The only problem is they're a very set of balanced teams going into a meta where there are still teams that are way more powerful than they are. So you've got this weird disparity of balanced teams going into outside of the box going into this crazy thing. And they also don't play on Into the Dark that well because they're both ranged teams with no melee. Basically, their melee is just their leaders. And it's weird. Like, rules-wise, they're very odd. The Necrons are very much like a survivor. Like, the way they work is they're a semi-elite team, but it feels the way they're supposed to work is they're supposed to grind you down and eventually win, which is a very unique way to play. I still think they're a bit weak, like they're missing 1 or 2 operatives for that kind of playstyle. And then the Kasrkin, their problem is that the Scions exist in the compendium. So if Scions go away, then they're great. But at the moment, they kind of suffer as well because they're an all-range team, but they only hit on 4s, apart from their leader, and they don't even have 8 wounds anymore. And they don't have orders. They have this thing called like elite points, where they start with 10 and they get 2 a turn as long as their leader's alive. Your basic guys get to use 1 per turning point for free, but they can modify dice rolls like destiny dice, but you can only do it for 1 dice roll per shooting or like melee attack. So if you rolled like a 3, 4, 4 and a 5, you could spend 1 point to either make 1 dice a 4 or the 5 into a crit. So it's really nice, and they're both like thematic, but yeah, it makes more sense when I go into the full review because otherwise they'll take up the whole review. Then terrain. So it's exactly the same as Into the Dark. You get a new sprue with stuff like ammo crates, like sentry guns, more robots, but unfortunately they're only for narrative play. You can't use them in the match play missions. Like, I'll show the missions now. So you get this new terrain sprue, and then the missions. You've got 9 new narrative missions, which uses the Into the Dark framework with this new terrain sprue. And then you've got 9 competitive missions, which are unchanged from Into the Dark. So it's kind of weird. Like, as I said, this box feels better if you're buying it as a one-off. If you're a continuing competitive player, you're going to find this book very strange. And then, but like the nice thing is they're not just copying and pasting the rules. They explain all the Gallo Dark rules, so all the Into the Dark stuff, but they use the models in the box to represent all the rules, which is actually really nice. It's not just a copy paste thing. They've actually taken photographs with the new miniatures to show how they work, which is exactly the same as Into the Dark, but I like that instead of just copy pasting. I think that's a nice touch. But like, this is the weird thing. I really like the narrative missions for like Shadowvaults Into the Dark, because you get stuff like there's ammo crates. This part of the Gallo Dark is all about like this is the loot cache. This is where all the ammunition, weapons, hidden tech is found. That's why everyone's fighting in this part, and that represents really well in the narrative missions. It's just unfortunate when you go to the match play missions, you don't use any of that. So because they don't have any of the extra terrain, it's all very clean, sterile, and symmetrical, and it's a bit boring. But that's it. So as an overview for Shadowvaults, it's a confusing box, and I think the only reason it's confusing is because the way this season has been marketed. So if you weren't aware, the way like this season of Kill Team has been sold is like each box will add up to make a new arena to like a huge 40k thematic board to play on. And we're just getting the same terrain every box, but a new terrain sprue to make it slightly different. And it's weird. Like before, when you were buying other boxes, it kind of comes down to whether you like having something different every box or like the terrain being the same. I preferred it being different. I was hoping we'd get stuff like the Zone Mortalis terrain. Maybe we could have like be battling in a space dock, so we have like all these containers, like a kill zone just of containers, because like you're fighting over like the loading area of this like space Hulk. I think that would have been neat. The fact it's just going to be 4 sets of Into the Dark is bit disappointing. But on the flip side, it's great if you're not buying every box, because if you're just buying one box, you kind of get everything you need. You're just missing like all those counters and tokens, and the teams are stunning. But that's why this thing, I think it was just, if the communication was clearer going into this box, I'd be less lukewarm about it. But like the other thing, they said it would be all new stuff. So the terrain is new, but the Necron teams aren't new. Like I can't tell you how frustrating it was building Immortals. Like, it was pain. And I was just hoping, like, you know, we could have gone, like, even 5 new, they could have brought back, what do you call them, Pariahs. Bring back Pariahs. Like I don't hate that it's an upgrade sprue. I just like from the wording and like on the Warhammer community articles, I thought it was going to be 2 new teams. So it's just a little bit of a downgrade from there. So for the pros and cons, the kill teams look stunning. Both teams are really beautiful. Like I can't like I've had so much fun building the Kasrkin. They're so cool. Like really nice. Like the Kasrkin are all next to each other. They're ease to build. Even the new Necron stuff. The only downside is the Immortals. Both very balanced teams inside and outside of the box. Feel like they're really, really solid. You've got, well, this one may seem small, but I like that they've used the models for the illustrations and the demonstration of all the rules. Seems minor, but I like that. It shows it's not just a simple copy paste. And then also I like the narrative missions. I think they're actually really fun. And if you're playing Kill Team Into the Dark narrative, you're going to have a lot of fun with like these new sentry turrets, like the ammo caches and crates. The narrative missions are really, really good. For the cons, bit disappointed the Necrons are kind of a rehash, especially as the Cryptek is pushing it, especially as you can select 2 other Crypteks and you only get 1 in the box. Tolerated it with the Phobos. I think you're kind of pushing it too much there, GW. Don't want to see this anymore. Like, I really would have loved to see a more like an up-to-date unit, because the Immortals are such a pain to go together. And like this box is kind of worse to buy if you are a continuing player, because you're not going to really do much with the Into the Dark terrain, especially if you're not using it at the end of a season. And like the match play missions are kind of the same, so you're not getting too much great value for there. And also I find these teams do play worse on Into the Dark just because they're ranged focused teams, which is really strange. Like they're not unplayable on Into the Dark, but it's weird they're better on normal Kill Team than they are on Into the Dark. So just some things there. But overall, would I recommend Shadowvaults? Personally, I think what I like about it, you don't have to buy it. If you like the kill teams, like either to paint or play, you will love this box. But if you don't want to, there's no harm in missing out. It's like the same with the other kill team boxes. Although I would say you got more from the other kill team boxes because there was so much variation. But this is like technically new terrain. Would I pick it up? Probably for the Necrons. I think the Necrons are really cool. I know my friends are picking up for the Kasrkin because they're like Imperial Guard players and love the models. But it basically comes down to you. I would probably buy it just for the Necrons, but try and find a way to turf the terrain. But I still think it's a good box overall. It just appeals to different people, and what I like, it isn't an essential buy. You don't have to buy this. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool box. If you want to buy Shadowvaults, I've got an affiliate link you can check out in the episode description below to Element Games, which will net you a 15 to 25% discount at no additional cost to yourself, while helping to support my channel and, well, yeah, me for free. So check it out if you want. That's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of the video and the review. Do you agree, disagree? Do you like Shadowvaults, or are you not a fan of it? And remember, I've got a video on each other kill team you can check out, as well as a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll just quickly shout out my patrons. So for my Adepts of the Crit, I have Sam, Tarun, Kenzie, John Thomas, Dave, Daniel, Average Joe 27, and Adzik. And then for my Veterans of the Crit, I have Samja. So thank you so much. This is what really means a lot to me, and it helps support the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Shadowvaults. I actually really enjoyed reviewing this because this is the first box I've ever got to review before it was like being properly announced. So this is really cool for me. Like, I was really surprised, little bit disappointed, but more like happy than disappointed. Like, really cool. I think it's interesting. Like, I really like the balance. The balance is so good. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish painting these kill teams. I'll have a battle report up soon. I really want to make the Necrons work, but the Kasrkin, they're like, I generally don't like full shooting teams, even though I play Pathfinders. But you know, if I want to play shooting, I've got Pathfinders, so, you know. But I think it's a really neat box. Really neat box. It's just neat. So yeah. So until next time, no matter how lost you get inside the Gallodark, remember there's always hope as long as you can roll a crit.